One of the great revisionist westerns and one of the great, I think, hallucinatory apocalyptic westerns is Jim Jarmusch's Dead Man.
I knew it.
From 1995.
I knew it.
Yep. If you haven't seen that one, that is a great movie, but I imagine most people have already seen it. So if you've seen Dead Man and you really like what that does, then I would recommend as a pairing for that one, this movie from 1966, directed by somebody that we mentioned earlier in the stream, who made that opening sequence for A Fistful of Dollars, Monte Hellman. The movie is called The Shooting, and I just saw this for the first time really recently, like last week, as a matter of fact, and it made a very strong impression on me, and I wanted to mention it and recommend that people check it out. It was actually shot more or less concurrently with more or less the same group of people with this other movie called Ride in the Whirlwind. And they were both released the same year. I still haven't seen Ride in the Whirlwind. I'm going to see it. But all I've seen is The Shooting, but they're actually part of a double feature set released through Criterion. But The Shooting stars Warren Oates as a cowboy who, with some friends of his, has discovered a gold mine. And he's left the gold mine for a bit. The movie opens when he's coming back. And when he returns, he finds that nearly all of his friends have turned up dead or missing somehow. And he can't really figure out why. There's one friend of his who is still alive, who has been left with a major screw loose. He tries to figure out what has happened. The guy doesn't really know what's happened. As they're talking about what they're going to do and how they're going to continue trying to mine this gold, a woman wanders in out of the desert. She won't say who she is, where she's from, where she's going. She just says, I need to get to town. I'll pay you all to lead me there. So very reluctantly, they agree to lead her into town. While they're on their journey, this mysterious gunman wanders out of the desert. Again, won't say who he is, what he's doing. He's played by Jack Nicholson. And he just sort of joins up with them. And as the movie goes along, you start realizing they have ulterior motives, and what's actually going on might be very sinister. But this is a movie, it's made very much in the Roger Corman style, with almost no resources, no money. It's very low budget. It's assembled out of the barest possible elements. But what it does stylistically is clearly very influenced by the 60s European art films that were becoming very popular at this time. Specifically something like Michelangelo Antonione's La Ventura. This is sort of like the La Ventura of Westerns. The ending, I won't spoil what happens, but the whole movie is sort of a mystery of motivation and character. And at the end, it leaves you with more questions than answers. Which again, I think is something that will frustrate a lot of viewers, but I really loved it. It creates a very strong atmosphere of menace and suspense and tension. It's also very entertaining. I think the dialogue, it just goes nuts with all of the archaic idiosyncrasies, you know? Nothing is ever stated in a modern, recognizable way. They try to find some sort of weird vocabulary or phrasing to give it. So the whole movie is just filled with this really interesting dialogue that I really liked. And yeah, just the fact that there's nothing to it, that it's just a few people in the middle of the desert. It has this desolate quality that I find really interesting, that goes very well with the atmosphere that it creates. But I thought it was a really good movie, and I think more people should see it.